Okay, so we stopped at loading of our packages, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the next thing is to import our data set.
So without Rio, even if we import, our data cannot run.
Because the import function is inside the Rio package. So if you don't load Rio, you will not have the import function.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so the data that we're going to use, so I have a data in somewhere in my system.
Okay.
Where are you now? Desktop, app. Okay, yeah, malnutrition, I think that's it.
So how many format does he accommodate?
Format like how?
Excel,
Okay,
Excel,
okay,
SLS.
okay. That's a very beautiful question, Mr. Shola. So the function in there are different ways. Okay, so R is a tool that there are so many ways to kill a rat. So
Okay.
like now, this install and load packages, there's another way you can do it. But I showed you this one because it is the simplest way I know how to. Now, when it comes to import data sets,
Okay.
there are also several ways to import data sets. But the import function is one of the simplest way to do it for me. There are other functions like read
Okay.
Excel, read CSV, and all that. In that one, you have to know what the document type is. You have to know if it's a CSV file or an Excel file, so that you can know if you're using read Excel or read CSV or read whatever.
Read CSV.
Good. But
Okay.
for import does not need to know all those details. You just use your import function and it brings in the data set for you. And that's why
So
I use.
that is Rio.
Well, that's easier.
Yeah, so it's easier. And the import function is inside the Rio package.
Rio.
Yeah.
Okay.
So now remember, let me get the data set first. So when you get your data set, right, you will put it inside the folder, that folder that we created in the beginning when we were creating a project.
Okay. Yes.
February.
So
Okay.
you take your data set and put inside that folder. So I'm going to go to that folder. It's in my desktop. So the last one I created, the project I'm working on currently is Zenat's
February. Okay.
folder.
Project.
So I'll go to
Art training.
Zenat R trainings. That's it here. So I'll open it and then I will paste my data set inside. So can you see the data set? This
Yes.
malnutrition, right? Good. So I've pasted it here. Now I will minimize this. If I go to this file, remember I told you that these files in the third quadrant is where R stores all the documents related to that project. So if I click on these files now, you can see that malnutrition is there. And you see the one I just pasted in that folder. Good. So even though it is here, it's not yet inside RStudio. So we need to import it inside RStudio. And how do you do that? So you do your import function, right? And the beauty of R is once you start typing something, it gives you options of what it thinks you are typing. And then you can actually just select it. So you can say import.
Just like I said.
Yeah. Now, for any function, on the right-hand side, it will tell you the package in which that function is contained. So you can see import is inside which package?
Rio.
Rio. Can you see Rio here?
Yes.
Good. So I'll just click my import. And remember, functions have brackets open and close. And it's within this bracket open and close that you now put in your object. So what's our object in this case?
Malnutrition.
The data set, exactly. So you will need to type it exactly the way it is here. If you make any mistake, it will give you an error.
So you cannot copy and paste.
You can copy and paste, actually, which is what I want to show you next. So I can come and tick. You cannot do copy and paste by just right-clicking on it. It doesn't work that way.
Okay.
So what you do is, this box beside it, you tick it. Can you see it's ticked? Then you go to rename. Can you see this rename here? I click on rename. It open up, then I will highlight this and select and copy it, Control C. And then I'll cancel this.
Okay.
And then I'll come inside this thing. I'll put inverted commas because it has to be within inverted commas, and then I'll paste it.
Sir,
yeah.
If you don't tick it, it will not bring rename?
No, the rename is, it will bring out the box
what I'm saying now,
for the one you have selected.
You tick okay. What of the selected, sir? Let me see.
Yeah, I've selected it.
Okay, but it's general rename, but we need to be specific now.
Yeah, you need
by
to
specify
which one do you want it to rename. It's not like you want to rename it to. I just want you to bring out that box so that I can copy the name.
So if you click rename now, it will bring 0. Nothing will
come up. It will not bring anything now because you did not select anything.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying to. Yes.
Okay, so the import, you will put inverted commas, and then within inverted commas, you put in the name of the data set.
The data set.
So this is the way your import works. Right?
Okay.
Yes.
So, but now remember, we said when we were doing running commands in R, if I run this command, what am I telling R to do?
To save that, okay. You want to run the command?
So am I asking R, this code now that is on line 23, are we asking R to print or to save?
Have we even said it anything? Have we even told it anything? Do we say anything?
If I run it, what will happen? Will it print or save? That's
it will just save it. It will save it.
Why will it save? What's the difference between print and save? What do you say is the difference? So if you just write your code and run, it will print it. If you want it to save it, you have to assign it to an object name.
Okay.
Remember?
Okay.
So this one now that I just wrote now, what I've written here now is just like function object.
Okay.
So if I run this, I'm just asking R to print it. And it will print it inside the console. So if I run this, Control Enter, it prints. Can you see the data set inside the console?
Yes.
But it has not saved it. So to save it, I will have to assign an object name. So let's assume I assign an object name mal note. That's the object name I'm giving it. So it can be any name. And then we put in our assignment operator.
Assignment. Okay, please, where do we get the assignment operation from?
The shortcut is alternate and minus sign.
Okay, alternate and minus.
So if you type alternate and minus sign together, the assignment operator will appear. Zenat, are you still here?
Ah, she has dropped.
Oh, she has dropped. Uh-oh, yeah, her network, the place where she's staying, actually, the network is bad. Okay,
Okay.
so in this case now, we're asking R to do what? To save,
To save it.
because we have the code, we have assigned it to an object name.
Mm.
So if I run this one now, it will not give me the answer. It will not print it out in the console. Rather, it will do what? It will save this object in the environment,
Mm.
Okay.
Yes.
right?
Yes.
So if I run this now, Control Enter, you can see it did not appear, the data set did not appear in the console. But I now have malnut as my object name, and this is the data.
Mm.
So if I click on it, it will show me my data set here.
Mm.
You can see the data set, right?
Mm.
So, and that's because we've asked R to save.
Okay.
So again, the difference between save and print is just this part. If you don't assign it to an
Okay.
object name,
Object, it will print.
it will print. If you assign the code to an object name, it will save.
It will save it.
It will
That's
save
just the
it.
difference. Yes, that's the difference between print and save.
Okay.
Does it make sense?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So you can see we have imported our data set into R. Very easy. If it was using all those other ones, read something, you will now have to know the type of document. So this one now is read Excel. So you now have to know it is read Excel that you have to use.
Read. Yes.
So all these kind of things. And then another beauty of this, and that's the advantage of creating a project. You know, when you're when you were importing data sets during
Yes,
class,
from the
you will need to write
yes.
the
It's very cumbersome. You need to write
directory.
the directory, yes.
Exactly. So once you create a project and you put your data set inside that folder, you don't need to create any
Yes.
working directory.
It's easier.
It's easier like this.
It's easier. Yes.
Okay. So we've done our title, we've done our install and load packages, we've imported our data set. Then the next thing is to explore our data. So to explore data, what are some of the things you want to know about your data? That's the first thing we need to know.
The variables.
So I'll just list them. Number one, I want to know the dimension of the data set. And what does dimension mean?
Okay.
It means number of rows and number of columns. That's the first thing you want to know about your data set. Well, how many rows does this table contain? How many variables does it contain? Number two, you want to know the names of your variables. Number three, you want to see the first few rows and last few rows of your data set. Number four, you want to know what again? You want to know the class of your variables. Number five, you want to know the unique value in each variable. Number 6, you want to see the summary of your data set. So these are the common things you want to know about when you're doing data exploration. Does that make sense? Okay, so we're going to look at them individually and see how to use them. So I'm going to copy this and paste it here, and then we can look at them individually. So for the dimension, the function to use is DIM. And see it here.
Okay.
DIM is short form for dimension. And then the object will be what?
Dimension of the data.
The name of the data.
So we
Which
can
is
now
what?
make it
The name we assigned.
The name we
Data.
assigned, exactly, which is malnote, right?
Yes.
This malnote that we saved in the environment here. So if
Okay.
we run this, Control Enter, if you look at the console, it gives you two numbers, 247 and 15. 247, the
Yes.
first number is the number of rows. The second number is the number of columns.
Okay.
So this data set has 247 rows and 15 columns.
15 columns.
Yeah.
Okay. Please, during class, there
Yeah.
was a suggestion for us to be using, I think, underscore or something.
Yeah.
In naming objects. So I don't know
That's if the object is a combination
reason.
of two words. And that's
Okay.
because R does not like space.
Okay.
Yeah, so if it's a combination of two words, you join the two words. Instead of a space
So
in
it's
between
better to
them,
use
you
underscore.
use underscore, yes.
Yes.
Mm.
Okay.
Okay. So the next thing we're looking at is the names of our variables. And what function do you use for that? Function is called just names.
Okay.
And then you put in your minute,
minute.
right? Then we run it,
Yes.
Control Enter. And if you look at the console, it gives you the names of all your variables. Can you see that?
Yes.
So you can see the names: mother's age, mother's BMI, quality of mother's diet, mother's hemoglobin, etc., etc. Which are the same variables if you look at the data set like this. You can see mother's age, mother's BMI,
Yes.
quality of mother's. So what names does is it just takes out all these names and gives it to you as a list here.
Okay.
So how does he know his name that variable should be assigned?
How does what?
Why not bring another? Okay, how does he? So it's only variable. It knows to be bearing names.
Yes, yes.
So what I'm saying is when you type names, so only variables will
Yes,
be,
only the variable names
will
will be
respond.
given. Yes, yes.
Okay. Okay.
Okay, so we've seen names, we've seen dimension, we've seen names. The next thing is to look at the first few rows and the last few rows in your data set. Right?
So if your data has no variable, let's say we have removed the variable from the data, so name will not bring anything.
He said if you have removed the variable, like how?
Cut off. Accidentally, we just removed the first all those variables, we just clear them off.
So this first row now will become the variable row.
Okay.
So it just gives you the names in the first row of your data set. And conventionally, the first row of your data set is usually your variable column.
Variables.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
So if it's not breaking it, that's one of those things you need to clean. You need to
Exactly.
also take care of. Okay.
Exactly. So there are some data sets you will see. Actually, the first row does not have names. Maybe it just has numbers. It's in the second row. Like I've seen some
Yes.
NCDC data like that. It's the second row where the names
Okay.
of variables is. So in that instance, before I import the data into R, I first eliminate that first row so that the
Okay.
first row becomes the variable names.
Okay.
Because I know
Okay.
if I bring it to R will not it will import that first row as variable names, which is not what I want.
Okay.
Okay.
So like I said, the next thing is your first few rows and last few rows. So to see the first few rows in your data set, the function is to use head.
Okay.
And then you put in your object, which is malnute.
Manute.
So if you run that, Control Enter, it gives you the first 6 rows. And you see 1 to 6 of mother's
So why
age.
limiting it to 6?
Because that's the default. If you wanted to do, let's say, only the first 3 rows, after malnute, you put comma and put 3. If you run it, it gives you only the first 3 rows. If you want to see the first 10 rows, you put 10 after comma and run it, Control Enter. It gives you the first 10 rows. But the default there is 6. So if you don't put any number, it will give you 6.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. And then what's the counterpart for head?
Tail.
Tail, exactly. So tail gives you the last 6 rows. So tail malnute, Control Enter, gives you the last 6. Can I say the last
Also
6 rows? And then if you want more than or less than that, you can manipulate the number.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay, so next is the class of our variables. So class can be in 2 ways. You can want to see the class of all the variables at once, or the class of a specific variable. So if you want to see the class of all variables at once, use the function glimpse and put in your data sets, malnute.
So why is it not popping up?
Why is what not popping up?
Yes, when we are typing glimpse, it didn't pop up.
No, it will. It's not. It's just that I typed it too fast.
Okay.
So CGLI. Can you see it?
Oh. Okay.
I typed it too fast. That's why it didn't show up. Okay. Then even the data sets, if you start typing it, it will show up.
Okay.
And see, you can just select it there. Okay. So if we run this, Control Enter. So this is what Glimpse does, right? So Glimpse first tells you the number of rows and the number of columns.
Okay.
And then it now divides your data set into 3 columns. The first column will have the variable names. The next column will have the class of each variable. And then the third column will have the first few values in that variable. So it's telling us that mother's age, the class is what? What do we see here?
75.
No. Huh? What's this?
Hi.
What did I highlight?
DB.
DBL.
DBL.
Okay, DBL.
Remember what is DBL? It was
double.
Very good. And what does double mean?
Double.
Numeric.
Numeric. Yeah. That's a continuous numerical variable. That's
numeric data. Yes.
Exactly. So you see why we had to do those R basics before coming to this part.
Yes.
So all those things will start coming up now. So let's look at another one. look at this child's gender. What is this?
What is that one?
CHR.
CHR, beautiful. What does CHR mean? It's short form for something.
CHR.
When we did data
That's-
types.
I think it's a nominal.
Very good.
nominal
Nominal categorical variable.
nominal.
But what's the full meaning
Yes.
of CHR?
Character.
Character. Exactly.
character.
Excellent.
Yes.
Excellent. Good. So you see, those things that we did in the beginning are now beginning to pop up.
Yes.
Yes.
So it's telling us that child's gender is a character.
It's a
Child's
character.
age is DBL.
Is DBL.
Double. Exactly. So this
Okay.
glimpse gives you the class of each of all of the variables at
variable.
once,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
But there might be
Yes.
times when you want to see the class of a particular variable. So let's
Yes.
assume we want to see the class of this mother's BMI, mother BMI, right?
Mm.
Yes.
In that case, the function is class actually. And then
Okay.
we can't just write mother BMI. R will not understand where mother BMI is. So we need to tell R, we're talking about the mother BMI inside the malnute data. So that will be
Yes.
malnute,
Mm.
then what?
Comma.
No,
Double. I mean, column.
The piping
no,
operator.
no, not the piping. What is our subsetting operator?
Equal to.
No,
Double
no,
equal
no.
to.
To subset, to say this variable is inside this data set. Remember we
And.
said not
Or
and,
in. Okay, see now.
is the $sign. Remember?
Yes. 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 The $sign. Yes.
So in fact, once I type the $sign, it will show me all the variables. So I can pick the one I
Yes.
want.
Okay.
So the one I
Okay.
want is mother BMI, right? So what this
Yes.
code is saying is that I want you to tell me the class of mother BMI, which is inside the malnute data,
Okay.
Okay.
right? So if I run this, Control Enter, you can see
Yes.
in the console, it tells me it is what?
Numeric.
Numeric. Excellent.
Mm.
Remember we said the continuous variable can either be called double or numeric.
Numeric.
Remember, right?
Numeric.
Yeah.
Yes.
Good. So that is how we do find out the class or the data type of the variables. Is that okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. So just the way names tells us the names of the variable, sometimes we need to know the names of the values within each variable. Let's assume now, if you have a variable gender, what are the unique values inside gender variable?
Male or female?
Male, female. Excellent.
Mm.
So there's a function that we use to find out the specific values inside a given variable. So let's look at our data set, malnute. So let's assume we want to find out the specific values in this child's gender, right?
Okay.
So we come here. The function to use is called unique. Again, because you're dealing with a particular variable, you need to first tell R the data set, which is malnute, and then your $sign, and then the variable. So I can select child's gender from
Okay.
here. So if I run this, Control Enter, you can see in the console, it gives me the unique values. So there is male, there is female with double A, there is female, normally female, There's male with capital M. So
There's M, there's F,
Okay.
only M,
exactly,
only
there's
F.
exactly. So we know, you and I know that these things are probably data entry errors,
Yes. Typing. Yes.
typing errors, exactly. So, but R does not see it as typing error. R is seeing it as different values. So this is where
Okay.
your exploration will now begin to tell you what part of the data to clean.
To clean. Yes.
You
But some
understand that,
people
right?
put a family. Is it not part of family and
Is the family is a wrong spelling for female.
yes, and even more.
Male is wrong spelling for male. So from here, you can see the mistakes that were made, and then you can now start knowing that, okay, this is what I need to correct in this variable, or this is what I
Okay.
need to correct in this variable. Are we okay?
Yes.
Yes.
Very good. So that's our unique values in each variable. So you can do that for any variable. Just put in the data set, put in your $sign, and then the name of the variable. Okay?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
If you
Then the
have a very, sir,
mm,
if you have a unique variable like that are very in a complex data, so how do you now appreciate knowing like this is very view now because it is only me and the data
yes,
is not quite many.
yeah,
So
yes,
what of
yes.
it in the case there are many and many? So how will you easily identify those error and
Okay. So when we get to clean and manipulate data, that's what we would, that's the first thing we'll do to start. This
Okay.
next section now, clean and manipulate data. When we get there, then we would, this question you asked me, that's the first thing we will answer. Is that okay?
yes.
Yes.
Okay, so the last thing we're going to do in data exploration is to do the summary of your data. And the function we use for that is called scheme.
So okay.
Scheme and minute. So run, you can also use summary, but I prefer using scheme because scheme gives me a more detailed summary.
Okay.
So control
Okay.
So
enter.
scheme will reduce it. We further reduce it, or which
No,
one will
no,
be more elaborate?
it gives me a more elaborate
Okay.
summary. That's what scheme does. Don't worry, after this, I will run also with summary so that you can see the difference. So this is scheme. So scheme first tells me the name of the data set, which is minute, number of rows, number of columns, right? And then it divides the
Yes.
data set into their data types. So you can see here, it's telling me that there are 7 character variables and 8 numeric variables.
Numeric variables.
Then after that, it now takes each data type. So this is character, and now gives me a summary. So these are the variables that are characters. It tells me if there are any missing values in any of them. So here you can see 0,
Okay.
0, 0 means there's no missing value. If there's no missing value, it means the complete rate is 100%, which is 1.
1. Okay.
Yeah. Then minimum, max, this minimum and maximum, they don't make sense for categorical data. Right?
Okay.
Then empty is also like number of missing. Then number of unique is the number of unique values that that variable has. So for example, for this gender now that we run, number of unique values will be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So it has 8
Okay.
unique values for gender. And if we look at child's gender, this one is actually 8. You can see it's 8 here.
8. Yes.
Good. So after the characters, it will now take the numeric class and also give us a summary. So number of missing. So this one has some missing values in it. And that's why this complete rate is in decimal 0.9. It's not
Okay.
1. Then it gives us the mean value of that variable. It gives us the standard deviation of that variable. It gives us the minimum, which is the P0. Then P25 is the first quartile. P50 is the median. P75 is the third quartile. P100 is the maximum. And then it gives you a caricature of what the histogram will be like when you draw it. So that's a summary of this data set. Like I said, you can also use summary to do your minute. So, but I'll leave that to you as an assignment. You run summary with summary, and then you look at the difference between summary and scheme. Yeah. Okay, so we have less than a minute in this session, so we'll stop here for today. I'll send you this script, and then once the videos are out, I'll send them to you. It means I have to delete those other ones I've sent because there'll be no space to load this one. Then, if we have some time, we can have a class tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah.
No problem. But preferably in the morning because, weekends.
In the morning,
weddings
okay.
are...
Well, if it's not convenient for both of you, then we can do it on Sunday because Shola is traveling in the morning, and then you are having weddings in the... So, but let's communicate via WhatsApp.
Yes, I have a wedding.
Let's communicate via
no problem.
WhatsApp. Okay, thank you, everyone.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Good night.
My sister.
Good night.
God bless.